Howdy folks, Little John here again, and another 5 on Friday. This week we get a little bit of help from almost the dregs of some Bundaberg Red. Left by some fridge pirates, this one. Been floating around for a while. I've not even bothered getting into it at any point, so might as well have a go at it. Anyway, what I want to talk about today is keeping stock of your beer, or how much beer do you need on hand to keep yourself well stocked and not at risk of running out, and also allowing that beer that you've got to age enough that you're drinking it at its best. It's not drinking it too young and rushing through and flipping over. That's a problem I think a lot of brewers have, is not having a large build-up of brew on hand. So it means they're drinking beer relatively young. It's still green, hasn't developed properly. Now, of course, that time that you need will vary depending on what kind of beer you're brewing, and the style you're using. But for the most part, any brew, and I've discussed this on other videos, it does benefit from a little bit of time sitting before you drink it. So having some sitting around is not a bad idea. Now, but the whole idea of having stock on hand is not looking at just beer that's aged properly. It's having enough beer. I've said that you're not risking running out if something goes wrong. You have a batch, or even 2 batches in a row that are infected for whatever reason. Something goes wrong, and you've not got beer coming out, that you're not suddenly going to find yourself with no beer and having to run down to the local and buy cartons. Now, the amount you need to have on hand in stock obviously is going to vary from brewer to brewer. If you're drinking a carton a week, then you need a significantly lower amount than someone who drinks 2 cartons a week. So you need to know how much you're drinking yourself, and not just yourself, other people that come, you've got mates coming around and stuff, and you have got regular drinking sessions where other people are involved and they're drinking your beer as well. How much beer you go through to get those stock levels up. And again, that's so you need to work that out. And like I said, I like to have, well, I've got a ridiculously large, generally got a ridiculously large amount. I could probably go right now, at any given time, I could probably go 5 or 6 months without brewing before I'd run out of beer. That's because, one, I don't drink a hell of a lot. I have a couple of beers, most days of the week, so I only really go through half a carton a week. So I brew a batch generally every 3rd week, give or take, depending on the actual beer it is, but generally on average every 3rd week I'm brewing a batch. So I get full batches, 2 cartons and a bit, or a keg, and a few bottles, but anyway, the equivalent thereof. So what takes me a month to drink, I'm making in 3 weeks. So that means every month I'm getting a week's extra. So over 4 months I've picked up an extra month's worth of beer that I can drink. Now that's fine as you're going along. So I mean, if you're making a bit more than what you are drinking, then you're going to slowly build up your numbers as you go. I said mine normally stays around a fairly static level because every so often I'll give cartons to people. I'll give a cart, I take cartons to the father-in-law, or I'll do a whole batch for them. So that'll wipe out for 3 weeks part of the process, and squeeze me down a little bit. But what I did initially when I very first started brewing, I'm not going to say when I first started brewing. I started brewing 25 years ago. I stopped when I restarted, which now was a bit over 8 years ago. I brewed consistently. I brewed batch after batch after batch. And admittedly I was knocking out kits and I was turning them over in 2 weeks. Because I was doing full batches, I was getting 2.5 cartons. And building out, and because I was only drinking a half cup, so I fairly quickly built up a good supply. And over the years, as I've evolved from the kits into grain, and now doing full all grain brews and a lot more variety, the batches tend to be, common batch for me now is around 21 litres as opposed to 23. So I generally don't get that 2.5 cartons. And quite often I'll do smaller batches where I'm only getting a keg and half a dozen bottles. So, but that initial rush when I first started brewing got me a good stock level up. Now, as I said, that's not going to work for most brewers. I'm pretty unusual in the amount of beer I drink, considering I brew my own. As I said, most home brewers are drinking at least double that. I said a carton a week. If you're brewing a carton a week, then you're drinking a carton a week, you need to brew a carton every 2 weeks, brew a batch every 2 weeks, just to keep you on top of what you're drinking. Now, you get you get an extra 8 to 12 bottles out of a carton. Talking stubbies. So each batch. So if you are drinking your 2 cartons a fortnight, then you're getting a little bit extra if you're turning it over every fortnight. Now, that's not going to build you up in a real big hurry, but it will slowly. As long as you're only drinking those 2 cartons, you start sneaking in a little bit extra. And you're not getting anywhere. You're just doing enough so that you can keep drinking. And what you find out with a lot of brewers when they're doing that is that you're not getting a chance for your beer to age any great amount and to get to a point where you can go, okay, well, if this batch doesn't come out, I don't have to worry, I've still got enough there, or if I get an infection, I'm going to be fine. If I have a big party and suddenly I drink, mates all come over and you drink an extra 2 cartons, that you're not suddenly out of beer. So what I suggest, now if you're already brewing, and it's a little bit different. It's a little bit difficult, and time constraints can squeeze how often you can brew. And obviously the method you're using also is going to have an effect. If you're brewing all grain, then it makes it harder to brew lots of batches. And this is, if bigger drinkers, well, they go to, double batches, or they'll do, 2 batches, one on top of another every time they brew. That's why you're seeing such popularity with the Brewzilla that's just going to 65 litre. Because it's an easier way for brewers to knock out 2 batches, 50 litres of beer at a go, so they can really get a good whack going. But if you're starting out, or even if you're not starting out, and you're finding you're not getting that stock level up and you're not getting your beer aging as much as you'd like, bite the bullet, brew a few batches and buy some beer. Now, if you are already brewing and you got your gear, then you made the outlay for the gear anyway. The batches themselves aren't that pricey, so to add that on top of the carton, which you would have been drinking regardless, is not really that big, and you soon chase that money back once you actually stop. So if you do that for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, depending on, again, the numbers and how much you're brewing, suddenly you'll find that, hang on, well, those 2, 3, 4 batches that you've brewed in that time are just sitting out in your garage or your shed or the back room, wherever you keep them. And very quickly you've got 8 or 10 cartons of beer sitting around ready to go, and it's aging. Suddenly, your beer's 6 weeks old, and you can rotate through. This is where brewers become, we become warehouse managers. We become stock controllers, rotating your beer out. So drinking at that beer that's been sitting there the longest, you bring it out, you put it in the fridge, start drinking in, and put your fresh stuff back in, and you just keep rolling through. And once you've done that, you're never at risk of running out of beer. Your levels might come down a little bit, but you're never going to run it. You see me quite often, I'll comment, oh gee, I'm getting a bit low. And realistically for me, a bit low means I can see that in 4 months I'd be out of beer. Now, I don't see any situation where I'd be going 4 months without brewing and running out of beer, because realistically the only thing that would stop me from brewing would be another major heart attack, at which point I'd probably quite possibly not be drinking anyway. So it probably doesn't really matter, but you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, 2016, I spent 5 months of 2016 in hospital throughout the year. That sort of thing knocks you around. As I said, I wasn't drinking at the time. I wasn't able to drink in correlation with that. So I wasn't brewing, but I wasn't actually going through my stocks. So it didn't matter. But if you've got it just for a reason that you can't actually brew, but you're still drinking, you wipe out what you've got really quickly. I mean, the whole point of brewing is so you're not going out and buying commercial beer. Well, certainly not in large quantities anyway, not week in and week out. So sit down, work it out, have a look at it. How much beer am I making? How much beer am I drinking? How much beer have I got? Work out what you got. How long is this beer going to last me? And as I said, for me, if you've not got 6 weeks worth of beer sitting there, then you've not got enough. You're not doing yourself any favours. You're not drinking your beer at its best if that beer you're drinking is less than 6 weeks old. And as I said, unless of course it's a super duper hoppy IPA or something, in which case you're not 6 weeks is pushing. But I still believe that even the hoppiest IPAs need at least 3 weeks in the bottle, the keg, before you drink them, for them to really settle properly. So 6 weeks isn't an outrageous number for any style of beer. Listen, if you're doing kits, 6 weeks is bare minimum. You want to be aging them anyway. And most all-grain beers are going to be quite, not going to have any negative effect by sitting for 6 weeks before you drink. Just a case of making sure you've got the space, an area that's suitable, good temperature to do so. That's also something you need to look at. I'm not going to go into that. That's an issue you need to sort out for yourself, because there's so many variances on that. But yeah, look at your stock, work it out. Go, okay, have I got enough there? What do I need to do? What do I need to do in the next 4 to 6 weeks to get these numbers up? Do I need to brew a little bit more often? Do I need to knock out a couple of simpler brews just to build the stocks up a little bit, and then keep going forward? You know, do I need to buy bloody cartons for 4 weeks to let the stock build up while I continue to brew normally? You know, whatever it is, you are gonna get better beer on a consistent level. Every time you're getting a beer that's going to be aged properly, it's going to be better. Now, if you're one of these brewers that's just turning over kit after kit and carton after carton, and you're basically drinking it as quick as you can make it, grab a friggin' 6-pack and, you know, stick it away somewhere and leave it for friggin' 6 weeks. Then get in the fridge and drink it and see how much better it is. And then rethink your situation. Because you're not going to hurt yourself by letting your beer sit for a bit longer. Anyway, that's me for today. Little John, get your stocks up. Make sure you don't run out of beer. If you're inclined like I am, make sure you got plenty of bloody spirits to sit around as well. That never hurts either. But anyway, got any comments? As always, stick them down the bottom. Any questions, go for your life. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button down there. We have these yaks every week, we brew beers, we play around with all sorts of things. You might learn something, you might not. Sometimes you just find something a little bit funny. Either way, doesn't really matter. Come along for the ride. That's me, Little John. So I'll see you talking to you again. We brewing beer, we drinking beer, or we talking beer. Good brewing.